Hi, folks. Welcome to Fuck Your Opinion. This is a movie review show. I'm doing a TV show because why the fuck not? I watched it and I want to do a review of it. So, even though this is a movie review show, I'm also going to do TV right now. Maybe I'll do TV in the future. If you like it, if you want me to do more TV, make sure to hit the like button in the description, or comment and say, Sean, we really want you to do more TV. Sean, I want a fucking Bridgerton review. Sean, why are you not talking about Bridgerton? Bridgerton. Anyways, what I am watching or what I am reviewing today is, and I had to write down the full title because I couldn't remember the full title. So the full title is Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. All right. So, couple things. As we've all seen, this show has been trending number one, and now I think it's like 5 or 6 on Netflix. I'm like, oh, I have nothing else to watch right now. Why not? Let me check it out. I'm not really much of a true crime person, but let's do it. And honestly, this was such a freaking mediocre docuseries. Like I said, I am not a big into crime. I'm not big into like true crime or docuseries or that kind of stuff. But I feel like when I usually do watch them, they are of a certain quality. They are at least decent. I mean, even freaking Tiger King is just well made. I mean, you might not like the people in it, and you might say, oh man, it's a little superficial in some regards, but man, the hook, line, and sinkers that show has, the twists and turns, it knows what it is and it's really well done. Where this is a show that, in all honesty, felt very slapped together. It felt like the Netflix algorithm was like, okay, guys, we're doing all these crime shows set in LA, these crime docu-series. So we're gonna actually have a crime series, docu-series, Netflix cinematic universe. So we're gonna have the Night Stalker, and then we're gonna have this show, but it's interconnected because the Night Stalker is gonna be in this show. So we're gonna essentially advertise our other show. It's I just want to note that's pretty crazy that they have that like connection. I'm like, why are we talking about the Night Stalker right now? Now I haven't watched that series, so maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I have no idea. But the fact that we have like a 5-minute segment in this thing about the Night Stalker just is I can't imagine any other reason than self promotion. Like you could literally just go, by the way, the Night Stalker was here, 2 seconds, but they're like, no, we're gonna interview the lead investigators because we have that footage from the other show. We have it, so we're gonna put it in there. But anyways, yeah, this show just it feels very slapped together in a we didn't have a whole lot of footage and we're gonna work with what we have. And I think if it was an hour and a half movie, it could be a lot stronger. But with 4 hours, and like we're talking full 4 hours, it's not like a 40-minute episode. These are all like 56 or so. And it is so bloated, it is so stretched out, and it feels and I have no idea the context of the filmmakers, but almost feels like they started doing this a year or two ago. And most documentary filmmakers, they take years and years to do it. This felt like, okay, Netflix algorithm, bam, 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 we got it going on. Yeah, it was something where the trailer, half the reason I watched this was I didn't have anything else to watch. The other half was, the trailer looks interesting enough. Let maybe this will pleasantly surprise me. So I started watching it, and I thought it was like semi interesting at first. The first episode had a little bit of interest. I thought it could have been better, but I'm like, okay, this is not total crap. This is pulling me along enough. And I think That's how I describe the majority of the film. Like, it's not total crap. It's not terrible. It's fine enough to watch, just either you wanna put it on the background or like it's like a matinee docuseries, you know? It's not like the blockbuster of the docuseries, but it's, like, fine. It's fine. It's fine. No. A note I wrote was, "The show is so mediocre that even SNL couldn't commit a full sketch to it." So I love SNL, and one of their sketches this past week was like included a 5-second jab at the Cecil Hotel, and the sketch was about something else. And I'm like, usually if they really like a show, they'll do a full on parody or something, like Wild Country, Serial, Bridgerton, etc. But this is like, eh, what can we write about this? I got nothing. Whatever, guys. Um, but I realize I'm not really talking about why I think the show is mediocre. I think it's something where it just kind of goes along the kind of expected structure of what you think a docu series should be. Um, doing the general twists and turns. Again, it's like it's really bloated. I mean, the mystery is like interesting at times, for sure. It's a very strange case, but I don't feel like the series does a whole lot with it. I think it just kind of says, here's what it is, and everyone's talking about, oh, this is odd, this is interesting, but I don't think the documentary and filmmaking techniques itself really help it shine, and I don't think structurally this is anything great. There goes a car. I think that you could have chopped off probably 10 to 20 minutes of each episode, or like I said, made this into just a movie, and it would have been so much stronger, particularly because some of the more interesting ideas in the last episode. So I would say, one, the first 30 minutes or so are interesting because you're getting revved up into what it is and what happened. And then, like, I'd say there was a lull in the middle. And then near the very end, it finally starts legitimately talking about the topics it wants to talk about. So, like, for example, there's this Skid Row historian who is talking about um, mental illness and the homeless folks in Skid Row, and how essentially California and society is just letting them down and then letting them kind of like fend for themselves. But he's like, how many other Elisa Lambs are there that we don't know about, you know? And also, this is when the show wants to talk about mental illness, because this is when at least the investigators conclude that she wasn't murdered, that she was off her medications. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Sorry, guys. I always do that after I say the spoiler. But anyways, uh, they conclude afterwards that, okay, it's because of she went off her medications, and then the film decides to get into it there. Uh, about mental illness, and I'm like, guys, this is a little too late. I wish you had addressed this better in the beginning, and I understand why you didn't. You wanted to kind of schlockily tease out the intrigue and be like, ooh, could she have been murdered? Could this been a conspiracy? This and that, But in a hour and a half documentary, that conspiracy angle is 5 minutes. In this, it's like half an episode, and it's too much. It really diverts the attention of something that doesn't need to be diverted. Like, kind of going off of that idea is just like, I've been also watching this limited series. It's not a docu series, but like a documentary series. called Amend that Will Smith is doing, in which they're essentially talking about the 14th Amendment, but through different stages of American history and how that relates to different groups of people. And that's a show that is so fucking good. Every episode is so powerful, and every episode has a very clear delineation of like, this is what we're talking about here. We're talking about women's rights. We're talking about um, the civil rights movements. We're talking about et cetera, right? So that's a show that it deserves the time of every episode and earns it. And it has a clear beginning, middle, and end of every episode, and it has a certain topic where this was just so much more freeform and flowing. It's just like it was bloated. And because it was bloated, it didn't the ideas and topics at the end that it tries to conclude, I'm like, you didn't necessarily do the service to it in the very beginning, or you didn't service it enough throughout, you know? Like, for example, the internet sleuth community is one where I feel like the docuseries harps on a lot, but it doesn't really take a strong stance on it because, or at least it doesn't take a nuanced stance on it because in the beginning it's like, oh man, there's these sleuths. They're doing better than the investigators. Oh, they think that the investigators are corrupt and everything, yada yada yada. And it's like, where am I trying to aim? Where am I trying to feel with these people? And then at the end, in the last episode, they essentially attack this Mexican goth singer guy who, let's be honest, he's creepy as fuck. I mean, no one's going to argue that. Well, let me be honest. He's not creepy as fuck. His persona is creepy as fuck, but that is part of the intent. Him as a person, he seems fine. And it's honestly really sad to see that there's no basis in the claims of the people who attack him, you know, the sleuths who attack him. And it's just like, he's like, where, they bully me, they harass me. I tried to kill myself. It got so bad. And yet when it's deemed it's not my fault, where do I fall in this? Where is my, why are people not asking me for forgiveness? Why are people not trying to help me? And it's really sad, and it shows the negativity of internet culture and conspiracy theories and all this. And it's interesting, we live because of right now, with QAnon and the conspiracy theories, and this is another side of it to a degree. And I'm like, this is far more interesting than what you're actually doing, and I wish this was explored a little bit more. Honestly, it would have been a whole more interesting of a series if we were talking about conspiracy theories. I know this would be a different series, but and this was one of the subsets. Maybe Netflix, do that. You're doing a whole cinematic universe for docuseries. Like, throw that in. Throw Joe Exotic in there somewhere. You got it. There you go. You're writing, printing cash. That's what you're doing. Um, yeah, I don't know. Also at the end, it bothered me when the sleuths were like, there's this one sleuth guy. I forgot his name, but he's the one who starts like the Facebook group. And he's like, Elisa Lamb really inspired me to be a better person. She changed my life. And I just feel so inspired. And when I hired somebody to go to her gravesite and record it and touch the gravesite. And when he touched the gravesite, I felt such a connection with her. And I just like, dude, either I understand to a degree, but at the same time, you are either hamming it up for the camera way too hard. You're like, okay, this is my moment to shine. Like, I might be cut out of the series, and I don't want that to be. So I got to have my final point so I can be included. Like, buddy, I get it. I've been there. I was once in a So I once went to Burger King and they were doing like a commercial, like recording real people. And this commercial, they wrote a super duper long name for the Burger King sandwich. I forgot what it was. And I come out there and they're like, "What do you think of the new name?" And I'm like, "It's a mouthful." And guess what? They used that in the spot. They used my mouthful quote in the spot because I knew that's what they wanted because that's a great quote. And then the commercial just didn't air. It did not air. But and I only know that they use it because I used to work in a commercial place. But neither here nor there. Point is, I know that guy is hamming it up, and if he's not hamming it up, then I just have some questions. I'm like, okay, this is a little creepy. This is a little much. I think you need to like yeah, it's get a little bit of a grip. I mean, I will admit that and I have not read any of Lisa Lamb's uh Tumblr posts. It does seem like she did inspire people to a degree, but I feel like I have no idea. It also very much felt like manipulation on the part of the docuseries to be like, we want a nice positive message at the end, as opposed to like instead of just leaving us on a sad note. And I get that impetus, but it felt very forced and it felt very unnatural. But I don't know if it inspired you, if it inspired other people, then I am grateful and happy for it. But at the same time, it just felt very inauthentic and shoved into the series. Um, I think if they were gonna make it's like with everything else at the end, where you spent so much time focusing on the case and the oddities of the case that you didn't focus enough on the people and or like the how crazy the Cecil Hotel is. Like, oh man, people dying here all the time. Like, that's interesting. If you want to do a Cecil Hotel series, that's interesting. But in the context of what the final points you want to make in the documentary series are, it's just like this is totally irrelevant and rings hollow. I mean, the strongest documentaries are the ones where it's just like I'm hitting on my point with every single clip and every single quote I'm using. So by the end, it's just super powerful. I mean, going back to Amend, I'm literally crying at the end of every episode and throughout the episodes because it's so strong and so powerful, but it's also very succinct. It knows exactly what to hit you with and when. So it's just this show doesn't do that. It's mm. So should you watch it? If you really like this niche stuff, watch it. If you like crime series, it's fine, I guess. If you want, it, I would just say if it's not your cup of tea and you know it's not going to be your cup of tea, don't bother. It's not. It's really not worth it. Yeah. All right. In the meantime, make sure to like and subscribe. That would help me out a lot. That would put this video out a lot. That would help me grow my channel. Also, if you liked any of the things I was talking about and want to hear more of me, I do a podcast with my co-host Yanni, also called "Fuck Your Opinion." That is in the link in the script. That is in a link in the description below. So be sure to check it out. Have a great day, and if you want to berate me, you can go fuck yourself.